Hi, I'm Jerry Carter with the Crest Business Law Group. I want to talk today about 4 things that you should be looking out for if you are in the process of buying commercial land. And by commercial land, I mean an office building, a warehouse, an light industrial building. So the first thing that you need to be thinking about when you're buying a building is environmental compliance. And by environmental compliance, we're talking about state and federal laws relating to clean air, clean soil, clean water, hazardous material disposal practices, and the like. And typically the process is that when you go into escrow to buy the building, you're going to have someone do a phase 1 environmental assessment, and they'll take a look at the local records and maybe walk through the property. They won't take any samples at that point, but they'll do a write-up saying there's a potential for an environmental contamination problem in this area and you should do further research. Or they'll say, it looks like you're okay, you probably don't need to do further research. If they recommend further research, then what you'll go to is what is called a phase 2 environmental assessment, where someone will come and actually take soil samples. They might even take some water samples and they'll test them at the lab, and then they'll come back and say, you had clean or you had dirty soil samples, and then from there you could end up going to another stage of environmental investigation. And so think about that when you're going into escrow, because these things take time, and potentially if they have findings, it could take more time to complete your escrow. And then in any event, you're going to want to have your contract address the possibility of contamination that is discovered down the road much later, because you can definitely be held responsible for problems that were created by prior owners of the property. The second area that you want to be laser focused on as a buyer of commercial property is zoning compliance, special use permits, and even requirements of building associations. So a lot of times when you're buying an existing building, especially an older building, it may have been built during a time when the codes and the regulations were here, and then later the strictness of the codes was increased, and they may have grandfathered in the current user of the property so that they didn't have to comply with the higher codes. But what will happen is that you buy that building, and as soon as you want to build or modify the building and get a permit for construction, the planning department is going to look at that building and say, well, now the codes are so high, and so in order for you to get this construction permit, you're going to have to bring a lot of stuff up into compliance. And so you want to definitely, if not avoid that situation, be aware of whether you're going to have that situation, and that requires some investigation and some questions to be asked before you buy the building. So the third thing you're going to want to focus on when you're buying property is title issues. And by title issues, what I'm talking about is, does your seller have clean title? And then also, do you have neighbors who have a right to come on to parts of your property, that's sometimes called an easement, and worse yet, the right to keep you off of certain parts of your property. So for example, we saw a case once that involved a company that bought some property, expanded the facility, and then learned that their facility, the new facility, had crossed over onto a railroad easement that had been mismarked, on the title map. And so title issues can be a big problem, especially with neighbors and competing interests from neighbors. And then the fourth thing, obviously, to be focused on when you're buying commercial property is, what is the condition of the building? Because you have a time in which you can bring on contractors and inspectors to inspect that building, and once you complete the purchase and the transaction goes through, you're stuck with that building. So all the systems, the HVAC, the roof, the walls, the foundation, all that belongs to you, and so you need to know going in what the condition of the facilities is. So now that you know that there are a lot of things to look for when you're buying commercial property, one question that comes up is, should I have an attorney review or prepare my agreement to purchase commercial property? And I would say that the answer is yes. Really, west of the Mississippi, a lot of real estate transactions involving homes, residential homes, they're completed without attorneys. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. Most of those go through without problems, although there are problems. But in the world of commercial real estate, every property is so unique and the issues are so unique that you really will be doing yourself a big service by having an attorney prepare or at least review your real estate purchase contract. So if you're in the process of looking for a commercial property to buy, congratulations, I'm excited for you. If you have questions relating to how to best protect yourself from problems down the road, please give us a call.